Hi everyone, my name is Yamini, Wilfred, and I am the founder of NUUPER. And I am today wanting to talk to you about the three essential tenets that you should know when you're restarting your career. Uh, we are, we are all going through difficult times, and difficult times calls for different actions. And I think all of us are figuring out what is going to be our new normal in terms of how are we going to take things going from here, what is going to be different for us, how are we going to do things differently, and what is going to be our approach going forward. So so these three tenets essentially, I think, will help us, and I hope that it will help you, uh, you know, figure out our new normal going forward. So the session is going to be like this. I will first, uh, you know, talk about the session the topic for the first 15 minutes, and the next 15 minutes I will talk about or take questions which have come onto the Jobs for Her website, your questions, so I'll answer those questions. To start off, I'd like to kind of introduce myself. Like I said, I am the founder of a platform called NUUPER. Now, what is NUUPER? NUUPER is a conversation board between a company and its consumers. Now, why do we want to have this conversation? Because we believe that having meaningful conversations with your customers, with your target audiences on an ongoing basis can help you build better products, build better strategies, and deploy resources, effectively. So that's the whole approach of what NUUPER does. We kind of curate users for these brands, help them have meaningful and insightful conversations through the different tools that we have on NUUPER, and hope that these help these brands basically build better strategies and build better products. So I will slip into I will get into the topic of for today, which is the three tenets that you should know before you are restarting your career. Um, Before I start, I'd like to let you know that these three tenets I have built based on my own experiences of being a corporate employee for 15 years and then moving on to starting my own company after a break. So these three tenets are essentially from my own learning experiences of moving from a different way of working to the current way of working. Um, so to kind of give you a small, okay, so to start off, the three tenets which I think are absolutely important before you restart your career is one, research, two, time, and three, team. Now, why research and why time and why team? Uh, I chose research. But let me tell you, before I could actually make it research, time, and team, the three tenets that I had shortlisted were tenacity, time, and team. Now, why did I change it? Because I think, no doubt that all of us have to have that tenacity to go out there, reskill ourselves, figure out what is new, uh, find out what is happening different. When we have taken a break, we probably are not, in touch with how the dynamics have changed in the market and things like that. So tenacity is a given. The fact that we have youngsters actually today starting up new companies. So tenacity is a given. We have to have it. But what does research enable us to do? Research enables us to uh, have that foundation, have that backing, for that tenacity. The backing of data, the backing of information, the backing of what people think, what is the difference that we think in what we have presumed our perceptions vis-a-vis what is it in the real scenario today. So research basically helps us build that strong foundation, that solid uh, uh, base at which we can actually start. Now, I think research as such is a very underplayed concept in India. Um, we have seen that how there is a very time tested method of researching researching one's market or researching one's product and things like that. And the whole methodology, the entire process of research itself needs to be relooked at, um, you know, revised in a different way. Why do I say that? I say that because I have found out that I have spoken to because my job essentially is about finding out what is a different kind of research companies are doing today and how can we better it. Now, I found that um, there are the entire the methodology of research, how the questions are asked uh, to solicit the biases that we hold. You know, what do I mean by saying that? The questions that we ask is to say, okay, I think this. Are you okay with it? Um, it is not to not something which says, I'm neutral. Tell me what you think about something, about the topic. So from that point of view, uh, the methodology of asking questions really needs to change. The way we ask the questions, how do we actually eliminate our biases? In asking these questions is one very important way of researching. The other thing about research is about who do we research with. Uh, you see, typically today what happens is we are talking to our first rounds or the second round of network and posing these questions saying what do you think about this and what is your opinion about a particular thing, and more or less get answers which are similar to what our perceptions are. So so the second important thing to remember in the entire process of research is that whom are we talking to? uh, I'm not saying it is not important to talk to the first round or the second round of people, but it is very important that you talk to absolutely a new set of people who don't know you, who don't know your product, who don't know that what your inklings and what your biases could be, right? So find those people, figure out where you'll find them, in terms of demographics, in terms of locations, in terms of likings, dislikings, and things like that. So it is very important that the entire process of research is done in a way where we are actually exposing our biases, exposing our preferences, and getting insights which are very um, down to the ground, to feel the pulse of what your consumer will think. Because I think the moment you are researching, you know what the consumer is thinking. Uh, One more thing about research is about um, we've heard of companies pivoting their concepts, pivoting their ideas, so what exactly? Why does a company need to pivot? Does it mean that they have not researched their markets, or does it mean that their research was insufficient? Um, so why the need to pivot? Uh, According to me, the 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 answer lies in the fact that pivoting usually, is required because you have researched your market in the beginning of your product development, and not through the entire phase of product development and at the launch phase. Because typically what happens is, you have research the research typically happens in the first phase of product development, where you have researched your market, your competition, your consumers, and things like that. And then you have gone into this entire phase of product development, which is not involving the target audience at all. You have actually at your end, reading from that research that you've done, say 2 months back or 3 months back, and started work on it within your own scopes, and not involved the users. So it is so the point. So one more important thing about research is that how will you involve your users or your consumers throughout the entire phase of product development? How do you know what are the dynamics which are changing? It is important that you constantly have that conversation with them continuously. Even if it's like small questions. What do you think of, like, send it out to them, tell them, ask them, what do you think about this, what do you think about that? And I think that kind of opens up a lot of avenues while you are building that. So which means that the resources that you're going to be deploying into this whole product development is that much going to be effective, and it is going to be that much more informed. So at the bottom line, the entire research has to be an ongoing process. Um, I'll give you an example about the entire research. One of my friends actually took up a franchisee of a food outlet, and she invested 10 lakhs initial investment, in 10 lakh rupees of initial investment in taking up that food franchise. Uh, I think 2 months or 3 months into that franchisee, she realized that within a 2 kilometer radius of her outlet, there were two more other outlets of the same franchise. Now, which was eating. Now these two outlets were really eating into her revenues, because you see, that locality typically had three food outlets of the same brand. So so this is where research is very important. Now, had she actually said, okay, I will research saying what other other food locations, I mean food brands which are available here, which are similar to mine, or what is the same brand which is available here, what is the kind of demographics of that locality, will they come and eat? So maybe she could probably have either chosen not to make that investment, or chosen to make that investment and take up that franchisee and put it up in a different location, which would probably insightful. I mean, gotten those insights from a different kind of research that she would have done. So, so bottom line, research is fundamental. Methodology of research is needs to be relooked at, has to be thought over, and three, research has to be an ongoing process, and it needs to be broken down into small pieces, so that the insights, the answers that we find are going to be meaningful, insightful, and it's going to help us just build our product and build our strategies and build our concepts and ideas from bottom up in a very informed and insightful method. So let me go to the second point, that the second tenet that I think is important um, um, when you are restarting your career. The second point is time. Now, why do I think time is important when you're restarting your career? Uh, Time. I think this point will be more important for people who want to actually venture out into a startup, who would who would want to actually put their ideas. They have new ideas in mind, and they want to put that idea and concept into real action. So I think time is is uh, is one of those tenets which I think is really important for that set of people. Now, why time? Time because we'll have to go back and draw comparison between the old style of business to the new style of business. Now, what was the old style of business? The old style of business was these time tested companies who were doing like the conventional companies who actually built their brands right from scratch. The investment that they had was coming from bank loans, and they actually their expansion and scale was coming based on the revenues, based on the profits that they made, and not because so that was a conventional way of building a business. Let's compare it to the current situation of, or the current way of doing a business, which is a startup, which is a capital infused way of doing a business. Now, what is different in a startup scenario? The startup scenario is different when because you have it is high capital intensive but low on time. Now, all the strategies that a startup kind of is adopting today is keeping the fact that how much of a trade-off, or how much of a particular behavior change can be brought about with the capital that has been invested into this startup. uh, but according to me, uh, you know it we'll have to it's time that we actually bring about this hybrid way of uh, having a time tested and a capital infused way of building. uh, why is that we need to have this hybrid? Because behavioral changes of consumers are are not going to change because you have infused a certain amount of capital. It will. I mean, I'm not saying it will not. It will. But having said that, it will not change over. It will not continue to change. So so it is very important that you change the behavior of a consumer over a period of time. So, and I think that also gives the company a leverage in terms of to build their books, figure out their revenue, build their profitability, build their expansion plans, and things like that. So, the hybrid model of time tested capital infused could probably give that room for a startup or a company to basically, uh, you know, uh, to build stronger books, in that sense. I also think that when you invest a lot of time or invest time as such along with capital, it helps you kind of filter out the noise in terms of what your USPs could be. A company typically has its USPs. We start off, I'm talking from my own experience because I started, thinking of a different USP for my company, but over a period of time, it has kind of, refined itself into something else. So finding the true is USP of a startup could also be coming if that time is invested into it. uh, you know uh, how will you leverage a few things that could that you're doing? What are the different things that that you could expand into, what are your potentialities, which is your market. So all of those things could probably kind of open up new ways of thinking when you're investing time. uh, the third aspect of time investment is the investor confidence. See, today typically what happens is this entire space of raising funds. Uh, how do you kind of build investor trust? Um, it's easier when we go and say, I have done this, I have, this is my achievement, I have built my product from this stage to this stage, I have invested so much time, I have pivoted in here, I have researched this thing. So I think when you have invested time into your startup along with capital, I think it builds a lot of investor trust, because it is based on tested achievements. It not only tested, it's proven achievements of what you've done. And I think that's why time is a very important aspect, according to me, when you're restarting your career. Let's move on to the third aspect, which is team. uh, I think this aspect, the team aspect, has the highest amount of, or one of the highest amounts of capital investments into it. So uh, I say team because this is one because it's capital intensive. I think it is very important that when you're restarting, most of us are bootstrapped. Most of us don't want to kind of, are not really open to say, okay, I want to go and build this big team, invest into a big team. So when it comes to actually bootstrapped, I think team plays a very important role. Um, why do I say that? Because I think when you say, like I said, it is very capital, one of the capital intensive aspects of restarting or starting a company. So you want to actually conserve as much as possible. So what do you do? So you basically kind of dig deep. You figure out what are the things that you can do yourself. Identify things, skills which could probably, are you good at? Maybe your core competencies could be something else, but maybe you could dig deep to say, am I can I handle these finances in the beginning? Can I do marketing for some bit? Can I do sales for some bit? Along with starting a company, and not only strategies, can I just go down to doing these jobs which will help me kind of not only understand my own business at a much basic level, but also that I'm conserving cash, I'm conserving capital to say, no, at this point I will do. So I'm multitasking, I'm actually upskilling myself, I'm getting a pulse of what is happening in my own company. So the bottom line about team for me, according to me, is always to have a place, to have a team of experts, vis-a-vis having a team with experience. I'm not saying that experience is not key, but you see, when you actually have experts on board, it kind of uh, opens up a different kind of scope for your work. So experts bring their own set of skills on board. But having said that, yeah, they come with their own costs. So that's exactly why you need to actually conserve cash, upskill yourself, and figure out if you could deploy that cash at a later point into an expert who could actually build a robust team. So that's I think one of those important things when you're building a brand, having a strong team. when you're starting off your career. So I think I will go to the questions now. I'm pretty much done with with what I had to say about the three tenets. But let's go to the questions as to what. Okay. So we have a question from Akshaya CY. She says, due to the current situation, do you think it is better to think of a work from home second career? I said, yes. I mean, it is absolutely better to think of a second career, which is work from home. But having said that, I think it is important that you look at it from a very long-term perspective. Will this career that you're selecting at this point allow you to expand after this current scenario is over with? So whatever you're doing, whichever second career that you're opting, has to give you that uh, scope, has to give you that expansion of actually saying, okay, it could extend after this time of crisis as well. Um, I would, there are a couple of questions about restarting the career. There is a gap. What should I be doing into the new career? How should I reskill? Um, I have restarted my career, uh, few days ago after a career break of 9 years, but I'm unable to cope with the advancement of technology used in my company. Given the current situation, can you please suggest some ways I can get on par with their level? Um that's one question. There is another question from Janie Lobo, which says, hi, I used to be in HR and managing people wasn't as hard as it seems now after restarting my career. How should I tackle this situation? I think I will kind of sum up, all of these questions into a couple of points. I think it is absolutely important when we are restarting our career to go with an open mind. It is important that we have our own way of working. We have worked, we are set in a particular way, we have had a particular set of team so it is very important, one, that we go with an open mind. We don't have prior expectations in terms of how it should be. It should, we have reference points for each and every activity which is happening at a company, and probably that's some kind of discomfort which happens because we are kind of referring back to our previous situations where we are saying, okay, this was not happening before. Why is it here like that now? And why is it not like what it used to be, and things like that. So it is absolutely critical that first we go with an open mind. Second is adaptability. What do I mean by saying adaptability? See, when I moved from a corporate job to a startup, I actually invested time into learning the ropes of this space. Just because I had an idea in my mind, I did not say, okay, I'm going to take off and start building this product. No, that's not what I did. All I wanted to learn how the space works. I wanted to see what people are talking about, what people are thinking like, which are the kind of groups which are talking. So I kind of made that effort to get adapt. It's very important to adapt to a certain situation, adapt to the change which is happening, because you see these are dynamic situations, and unless and until we are adaptable, it is going to be difficult for us to kind of move forward in that new situation. So that's one. How will you adapt? What are the things to keep in mind when you're adapting to newer situations, newer career changes? One is that you are going to figure out what are the new changes which are there. Find out what are the new developments. Figure out why is it so. Um, the second thing is, how is your current team, the new team that you're working with, handling with these changes? Have they been handled? Have they been handling it from the beginning, or is it that they are changed? Is it new to them as well? What are the different methods that they have used to actually cope with these changes? So find talk to your colleagues, your members, your maybe you have people who have rejoined careers and and had a similar kind of problem. So share notes, figure out what was their teething problems. What do you think that you have the same? Find out if what they have done is something that you can do as well, and things like that. Um, the other thing about adaptability is, not to be actually harsh on yourself. Adapting takes time, adapting takes effort. So what I would recommend is, um, take the change in small pieces. Break it down into small things. How will you understand small things? How will you incorporate those changes into your daily activities, slowly? So break the entire adaptability process into smaller things so that it doesn't kind of overwhelm you in terms of the entire change itself. So I think that's something that that is very important. Now there was one more question which I yeah there is this question from Shreya Subaya. It says, I, I am a mother of two kids and have now decided to restart my career in tech after a gap of 5 years. What should be my first step before starting the new career, and how important is it to reskill? In fact, it is absolutely important to reskill. You see, like I said, first you need to go with an open mind. Second, it is important to reskill. How will you it is there is no two ways about reskilling, because what was 5 years back is not the same today. The dynamics of the market keeps changing, industries keep changing, and it is absolutely imperative that we actually stay abreast with what are those changes, and we ensure that we kind of reskill ourselves. And it is important to first of all not just reskill according to what is out there in the industry, but it is more to do with what do you want to do from here on, and then reskill accordingly. So that's the answer to your questions. Find out if there are people within that scope of your area of interest, where people have kind of done some work within that scope. Talk to them and find out what is new in that industry, what is new in that space. And I think reskilling within that space is probably much better than just reskilling overall. Um, there is one more question from Shweta Sharma, which says, "Hi, how do I make my family ready before I return to my career?" Um, the simple answer to it is, I think, sitting down and talking to them. Saying, you that you're restarting your career, and that it's going to be different and it's not going to be the same. But having said that, I think it is important for you to kind of make a list of things where you will be available and where you will not be available. I think from that point of view, you're setting a realistic expectations, not only for your family members, for also yourself. Because most often what happens is, we are killing ourselves to to think that we are missing this and we are missing that, and oh, I'm not going to be doing this, and I'm going to be not available for a particular thing for my family. So I think sitting down, making a list of for things, to say, okay, these are the things I will be available for. I will ensure that I make time for it. I can definitely kind of juggle my work and my home and for these activities. But there are few activities where I might not be able to make that negotiation. Where I am going to be saying, okay, it is paramount that I'm at work. These things I will not be. And when you're setting these expectations with your family also will probably kind of, they are ready for it. They know that these are non-negotiables, and these things you will not be available for. Um, I think I'll take one last question, and there are, like, I think the question which it says, hi, hi, after this long break from my career, I think I've lost the confidence which I used to have earlier. How should I regain it? I think all of us should actually kind of draw inspiration from each other. I think you should talk to similar people who are working, women who have been on breaks. I think join groups which are encouraging. There are a lot of women centric groups which are actually you know acting as catalysts for women who want to get back to their careers. So be a part of those groups. It kind of helps you go out there, meet new people. I think that's some amount of confidence building activity that happens when you're meeting people, similar women who share experiences. So I think confidence building not only comes from deep down. I think when I say deep down, it is where you're deriving that inspiration to go out and meet. But having said that, that going out and meeting also has to happen. So the confidence comes from you getting up and saying, okay, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be part of these groups. I'm going to meet more people, talk to them, understand how they're doing. So part of it is that. The second part to it is doing it, going there, meeting people, talking to them, and I think that kind of will help you uh, build the confidence that you think you've lost. But I really don't. You know, all of us might feel low, but I think it all is within us for us to kind of dig deep. Mhm. Yeah, so there's one last question from Rubina Matthew. She says, after joining the company again, I'm not able to spend too much time with my family. I had made up my mind not to feel guilty about this, but I'm not able to cope. What should I do? I think the key is to set the right expectation. This the It's not about just saying, okay, I'm not going to feel guilty. You are not going to feel guilty only when you are not going to have that kind of expectation out of yourself. So I think setting the right expectation for yourself is the key to say, okay, uh, I am not going to be there for, like I said for the previous question as well, that for these things I will not be available, and for these things I will be available, and I'll ensure that I'm making myself available for these things. Yeah, so I think I've overshot the schedule by 10 minutes. So I like to you know finish off my session, and I thank you all for listening to me, and it's more power to everybody, all of you. Thank you very much.